All right, if you're a VMware admin, you probably live inside the vSphere client. It's powerful, it's slick, but what happens when that graphical interface just isn't enough? Well, today we're going to pop the hood and demystify one of the most powerful and maybe a little intimidating tools in your entire arsenal, the ESXi shell.
So to really get our heads around this, let's start with a simple analogy. Think about your car. The vSphere client, that's like your driver's dashboard. It gives you all the essential info you need to just drive the car, right? Speed, fuel, temperature, it's all clean, intuitive. But the ESXi shell, that's the mechanic's toolkit. It's what you grab when you need to get under the hood, diagnose a really complex problem, or perform some kind of specialized repair that the dashboard just can't handle.
And that's really the core difference. So before we just start grabbing wrenches from this toolkit, let's pop the lid and see what we're actually working with. What is the ESXi shell, really? To put it simply, the ESXi shell is a command line interface, a CLI, that gives you direct, low-level access to the hypervisor itself. This is built for the serious stuff. We're talking deep management, advanced troubleshooting, and those classic break-fix moments where you absolutely need raw, unfiltered control. You can almost think of it as the command prompt for your entire virtual world. Now, this brings up a really important question. If the vSphere client is so good, and let's be honest, it is, why would you ever need to go beyond that beautiful graphical user interface? Well, because sometimes that dashboard just isn't enough.
So let's get specific. When do you actually need to reach for this thing? What are the real-world scenarios that demand this kind of raw power over a friendly, clickable interface?
You know, the shell really becomes indispensable in a few key moments. Think about deep system maintenance, where you have to make some really surgical changes. Or how about advanced troubleshooting, like when a VM is totally unresponsive and you have to figure out why. And of course, there are those critical break-fix situations where something is genuinely broken and the GUI just can't get you to the source of the problem. Those are the times you need the shell. Okay, so we know what it is and we know why we might need it. The next logical question is, how do we actually get under the hood? Let's take a look at how you access this powerful command line environment. Basically, there are two main ways in. First, you can go local. This means you are physically standing in front of the server looking at what's called the Direct Console User Interface, or DCUI. It's the most direct access you can possibly get. The second way is remote access. You can connect over the network using SSH, and this is super important, you have to explicitly enable it first in the host's settings. So once you're in, what do you find? It's not just a blinking cursor. You've got a whole toolkit of commands at your fingertips, and they really fall into two main categories you'll be working with. On one hand, you've got your standard, familiar commands. If you've ever used Unix or Linux, you'll feel right at home with things like ls to list files, cd to change directories, or mkdir to create a new one. They're for basic navigation. But then, on the other hand, you have the specialized, VMware-specific commands. The big one, the most powerful of them all, is ESXCLI. This is where the real magic happens, letting you talk directly to the hardware, the networking, and the whole system configuration. Let's make this a little more real with a few examples. You could run ESXCLI network IP connection list and see every single active network connection on your host. Or maybe ESXCLI storage core adapter list to get a super detailed report on all your storage hardware. You can even just type DCU to pop open that text-based menu right there from the command line. So you can see these aren't just simple little commands. They are seriously powerful diagnostic and configuration tools. Now, any tool this powerful demands a serious conversation about security. This is an environment that you have to handle with extreme care, and there's a really good reason for that. And this right here is probably the single most important security takeaway of the whole thing. The ESXi shell is disabled by default. VMware does this intentionally for one very, very clear reason. Direct hypervisor access is a massive potential security risk. So why is it off by default? Because giving someone direct access to the hypervisor is a huge deal. The rule of thumb is this. Only enable it when you absolutely have to for troubleshooting or specific task, and then, you guessed it, disable it as soon as you're done. Another thing that's absolutely crucial is to always set idle timeouts. This is what prevents you from walking away from an open console and basically leaving an unlocked door straight into the heart of your entire infrastructure. This isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's a critical best practice. So, to wrap it all up, the ESXi shell isn't meant to replace your day-to-day tools. As the source material puts it so well, it's a complementary tool. It offers deep console-level control for those times when the high-level GUI just can't get you where you need to go. It really is the mechanics toolkit for the driver's dashboard.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've seen how a command line interface provides a very different kind of power than a graphical one. So the question for you is this. In your world, whether it's in IT or something totally different, when does that raw, direct power actually beat a friendly, easy-to-use interface? Something to think about.